slide release is ambidextrous on both sides. The safety is ambidextrous on both sides.
The Nintendo Zapper Ruger LCP, my Wolverine LCP2.
This is a variant of the gun that John Wick used in John Wick 1. He used a P30L, so it's a little bit longer.
But you can see the 38 Special along the top, and it looks like it did almost as much damage as the 38 Special, even though the bullet's only about half the size.
Shoot her! Yes! For science.
Oh! Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're out at a beautiful gun range today that's owned by my friend Justin. He was kind enough to let us film today. And this is my friend Ryan, who also happens to be our pastor and a major gun enthusiast as well. So he's going to let us do a review for some of his firearms today.
Yeah.
So what do we have here?
This is a, I'm going to take my, so I'm not shouting. Here we go. This is a TT-33. It was a design that was brought into Russia around the same time that the Colt 1911 really started to be used in the United States. It was a military sidearm chambered in a 7.62 round. You're going to have to Google it. I think it's 7.62 by 31 or something like that. It was one of those funny numbers. This one is...
Do you have a round available that we can show?
Yeah, well, this is just a 9mm. So this is a 9mm clone of it. This holds 9 rounds, and this was actually made and imported from Yugoslavia. So has a pretty good trigger pull.
Now, the round that originally came with it, how does it compare with the 9mm?
I haven't shot it, but if I had to guess, I think one of the reasons why they switched to 9mm was that it's a lot easier to find outside the Soviet bloc. Mm-hmm. But I would guess that it would probably be comparable in power, but probably moving a little faster.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
How many rounds does that sucker hold?
9.
So 9 plus 1?
It would be 9 plus 1, yes.
How wide is it? It's very thin.
It is a very thin gun. It's very slender. It fits pretty well in the hand. One of the things I have learned, and with a lot of old 1911s, this was a problem. Modern 1911s, it's not a problem. These guns have a habit of biting you. When I first started shooting it, and I would try to grip up as high as I could to get a good shot, I did notice this part would hit me right here, and I'd have a blister or a bruise at the end of the day. But it was because, I mean, men were built stronger back then than my dainty hands. But once you figure out the grip, you kind of get it together. But the slenderness of the frame makes it it's just a really fun gun to shoot. And I've been getting more into historical firearms lately. So.
Yeah. Also get a shot of the sights on this one, dear. They're basically revolver sights.
Yep,
I found kind of interesting.
They're just straight up iron sights. Again, this was produced back in like the 40s, which back then pretty much everything had the plain iron sights on it. And Russians are very utilitarian, so they don't do very creative things. If a gun works, it works, and that's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, we've got a very standard thumb trigger.
Yep, we got a thumb safety right here. One of the interesting features, this is actually something that Remington has become famous for in our day, but back then, this gun, actually, you cannot pull the trigger if it doesn't have a magazine in it, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a few guns out there that do that, but not many.
And Remington was one that was really known for it. But, yep, with the safety up, now the trigger's actually pretty free, but it still won't go off. And then, of course, there we go. So.
And there's no grip safety on this one either, which I also thought kind of interesting, because that's kind of standard for a 1911 as well.
It's standard for a 1911. 1911 is really what introduced that. Before that, grip safeties weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
pretty gnarly gun. So Ryan's going to fire a few, and I'm going to fire a few, and I'll let you know what I think when we're done here.
Yeah.
We're probably, 10 yards from that target, would you say?
Yeah, pretty easily.
All right.
Yeah, you can really make them dance.
Some pretty nice shooting.
Yeah, thank you. Let me go ahead and load you up a mag, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, got the baby one. Ah. Considering the age of the design, it's a really accurate firearm, right?
So the slide does not hold back on the last round. Is that?
I think that's because of the magazine. Some magazines it'll hold back on, some it won't.
Okay. Well, my thoughts on it right off the bat. The recoil is a little bit more extreme than I was expecting. It fires like a 45 or something that's got a much beefier round than a regular 9 would. The sights, I've kind of got a thing for revolver sights, so that doesn't bother me. I was able to zoom in on the target pretty quickly, even with just these regular iron sights. However, that would bother some people. A lot of people like their 3 dots. This ain't got that. The trigger I thought was very, very nice. Let's zoom in on it. It's got a little bit of oomph right there. But as soon as you get done with the take-up, it's got a really nice crisp wall. And you barely have to apply any pressure at all to actually squeeze it. It's just getting past this part right here. And then it's a nice smooth. And there's the reset right there. So yeah, pretty sweet gun. Not something that I'd want to own because the recoil is a little bit more bothersome than I would like. But for a concealed piece, especially on one that's this old, I mean, I can see somebody packing this like no problems whatsoever back in the day. So anyway.
Well,
I like it.
And back in the day when they would carry it, it wouldn't be in the waistband conceal. Obviously, it'd be on the outside.
Yeah.
So that helped with some of the length.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, it's nice and thin too, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
helps
it's
with it being
very,
on the
very
side.
thin.
it's not super heavy compared to some of the other guns of the day. The other gun that the Russians use that I haven't been able to get my hands on yet is a Makarov. So it's the Tokarev and the Makarov were the 2 that the military carried. And yeah, the TT-33 is fun. It has been featured in such films as The Kingsman. All the Kingsman characters carry TT-33s. And one of the main characters in John Wick, the Winston, the hotel owner, actually carries a
the
TT-33.
black guy?
No. Manager.
Ian McShane. You're talking about Ian McShane.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Ian McShane carries a TT-33 that's all chromed and blinged out. But yeah, it does have a bit more bark than some others, but I've been known to like handguns with a lot of bark. I mean,
Yeah,
I have a 50 AE. So
How much do you think this weighs, would you say? That's another thing.
a couple pounds.
This gun is not a plastic one like a Glock would be. That is all metal.
The only polycarbonate is the grip.
Yeah.
And not all the way around, just the plates.
So it's quite a bit heavier than other guns that are this size too, which also makes me kind of wondering why the kick is so much. Because I would think with a metal frame, the recoil would be less.
It has to deal, I think, and this is just speculation based on my shooting experience, I think it actually has to do with the rod. Because these, if you disassemble them, they disassemble similar to a 1911, but a little bit different. They still have a bushing on the front. You still have to pull the slide stop pin out. But within, it's not one solid rail or one solid rod. The rod is hinged in the center so that you can fold it to kind of insert it in. And I think that gives it a little bit of play so that the recoil is a little more felt than it would be from like a 1911 that shoots 9 mil. So, anyway,
Pretty cool gun. Thanks for sharing it with us.
you got it.